Living and Loving with Pastor Murphy.
Hello, good morning. My name is Murphy Okpala, your relationship coach. Trust you're doing great today, you and your spouse. Today I'm going to be talking to you about emotional intimacy. This is very important because emotional intimacy helps build a happy marriage. As a matter of fact, the more intimate you are, the happier your marriage will be. You can be either brokenly married, managingly married, or happily married. But I can guarantee you this: if you consciously and intentionally build emotional intimacy in your marriage, you will end up having a happy marriage. And guess what? A research shows that couples that are emotionally intimate actually experience more fulfillment in their marriage and in their spouse. And that is something that most marriages are seeking for. Most couples are seeking for fulfillment. Emotional intimacy breeds that sense of openness and security in your marriage, and that leads to fulfillment. The natural trajectory of marriage is leading to what I call stranger syndrome. By stranger syndrome, I mean you'd feel like you don't know your spouse again, or your spouse doesn't know you anymore. That's the stranger syndrome. That's the natural trajectory. But to stop that trajectory, that natural trajectory, you need to consciously and intentionally build emotional intimacy. So how do you build emotional intimacy? I want to share with you 4 things to help you build emotional intimacy, even if you are brokenly married. If you start doing these things, even though you don't feel like it, if you start doing these things, most likely your marriage will start gaining some energy. The first thing is affirm your spouse consistently. Constantly tell your spouse, I love you. Constantly tell your spouse, you are the best. You are smart. You are intelligent. Constantly tell your spouse, and this is both for male and female, constantly tell your spouse that you are the sexiest in the world. I'm telling you this, if you make a habit of consistently affirming your spouse, you are building and boosting the intimacy in your marriage. That's the first thing. The second thing is have deep, open talks with your spouse. Just a few days ago, I had a conversation with my spouse that was really beneficial to both of us. I asked her, what is your greatest fear in our marriage? Guess what? She threw the question back at me. And that led to us having that conversation. Now, the truth is that when a couple can openly share their fears, their cares, their aspirations, their dreams with their spouse, it actually helps build emotional intimacy. Don't fall for the trap of holding back these things that are dear to your heart from your spouse. The Bible said that the man and the woman were both naked and not ashamed. So you need to be naked and not ashamed in your conversations with your spouse. The third thing is create time with you and your spouse. Time for you and your spouse. In that time, just have fun with your wife. Have fun with your husband. Don't be too serious in your marriage when it comes to your spouse. Have times where you have fun. In that time together, play a game together. Play a board game. In that time together, you can watch a movie. You can read a book and discuss these things when you're reading. Discuss these things with your spouse. It will help build emotional intimacy. And finally, if somehow you need help, cry for help. A counselor can help you build a foundation where you can build up emotional intimacy in your marriage. Call for help. It will help you. And let me say this here before I close. See, whether you feel like it or don't feel like it, if you start doing these things, you will only lead further and further and closer to emotional intimacy. And that leads to happy marriage. I know you want a happy marriage. You don't want a broken marriage. So strive to build that emotional intimacy. I hope this helped you. God bless you.
Thanks for tuning in to Living and Loving with Pastor Murphy. If you need further information or counseling, call 0703 009 9275. You can listen to Pastor Murphy live in the Cornerstone Church at the foot of Trans-Ekulu Flyover, Enugu at 8 a.m. every Sunday. Remember, God wants you to be happily married. And so do we.